The next speaker is Honorable Irfan Ali. You have the floor, sir.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, we are here tonight to discuss a very important and serious issue. No amount of noise, shouting, or hitting the desk, grandstanding we do here would change the fact of what the people think about us out there. Mr. Speaker, it is very important for me to correct some facts. First of all, some factual inaccuracies. Some inaccuracies. Let me say this. Mr. Speaker, I'm hearing here members of the government talking about being in government for 3.5 years. This is incorrect. Mr. Speaker, since independence, this government has been in place for 31.5 years. And the People's Progressive Party civic government has been in government for 22 years. So as a matter of fact, this government has been in office 9.5 years more than the People's Progressive Party civic. That is the first fact. Secondly, Mr. Speaker, my colleagues on this side would have all pointed out that the no confidence motion is part of our Constitution, is catered for in the democratic makeup of our country. And let me remind this Honorable House that the People's Progressive Party civic has an election petition case that has still not been heard. And had that case been heard, I'm confident that we would have been back at the election a long time ago. Another fact. Mr. Speaker, it is also important for us to understand context when we speak about 23 years. You will recall that in 1992, we lost almost 1.5 years with political violence, political disturbance. Between 1997 to 2001, to 1998 to 2003, we lost 2 years of our term when we had the Hartmanson Accord. Again, we had 2 more years of disturbance on the streets. Mr. Speaker, these are facts that we cannot ignore. Then we had the politically inspired violence after 2001. And then we had, of course, the slow fire and more fire campaign. These are all events that cost the Guyanese people and cost Guyana severe damage to our image. So when you talk about the image of Guyana and the image of Guyanese, these are events that were sponsored by you that damaged the image of Guyana and Guyanese. Mr. Speaker, when we speak tonight, we are speaking to the thousands of sugar workers out there. We are speaking to the thousands of rice farmers. We are speaking to the young people, the public servants, the Amerindians, and the disciplinary forces. And tonight, I ask my honorable friends on the other side to let your conscience be your guide. The 17,000 sugar workers and the more than 30,000 Guyanese who are without a job, their problems came because of your actions.
Do your homework.
Their hardship came because of your actions. Their ability to provide for their family has been hindered because of your actions. So the pain they are going through, the suffering they are going through will be on your conscience. And you will have to answer for it. You must answer for it. So, Mr. Speaker, tonight, Mr. Speaker, we are dealing with the realities. The realities of the taxi drivers who bought their cars under the PP civic government, but today cannot afford to pay back the loan every month to the bank, and their cars are being seized. You think this is not true? Go and check out there. We are talking about the businesses that grew from 2 employees to more than 300 employees under the People's Progressive Party civic government that are now laying off people. Because of the actions of this government. Because of the bad policies and the bad planning. And it is for this reason that we do not have confidence. The Guyanese people do not have confidence in this government. Mr. Speaker, at the last local government elections, more than 60% of the people voted for the People's Progressive Party civic. They rejected this government because of sheer economic mismanagement and incompetence, because of the rampant corruption, because of the political harassment and intimidation and the blatant discrimination practiced by this government. Mr. Speaker, many times in this noble house, the APNU-AFC government will speak about the economy. Well, let us look at the economy they took over as against where we are today. Mr. Speaker, in 2014, Guyana, many independent observers describe our economy as one of the fastest growing economies in Latin America and the Caribbean. One of the fastest growing economies in Latin America and the Caribbean. Mr. Speaker, unlike today, where 2 large mining companies carry our economy, the local economy was driven by rapid expansion of all the major sectors, including rice, forestry, manufacturing, construction, and services. Mr. Speaker, under the stewardship of the PPC, economic growth rate was registered between 2010 to 2004 between 3.8% and 5.4%. Mr. Speaker, in the last 3.5 years, our economy was paralyzed with 130 plus tax measures, which was introduced. I'm coming to the fees. 130 plus tax measures introduced by the APNU-AFC government, which has extracted more than $100 billion. More than $100 billion has been extracted out of the pockets of businesses and citizens of this country. Mr. Speaker, poor economic policies has caused Guyana to slide 8 places on the World Bank Index, Ease of Doing Business. We have gone down 8 places on the World Bank Ease of Doing Business. Mr. Speaker, massive capital flight estimated at US 53 million or 11.5 billion during 2017 alone. We are not bringing in investment. We are not bringing in investors. In 2017 alone, we had $11.5 billion of capital flight out of this country. That is the confidence you're talking about? Is that the confidence the business community has in you? That they're taking their money away, their investments away from Guyana? In 2017 alone, $11.9 billion. And you can sing about that? Mr. Speaker, we have the ineffective implementation of the public sector investment program. The Honorable Minister himself, the Honorable Minister of Finance, publicly made statement about the poor performance of ministers in his government, poor leadership, and that is why billions of dollars in the public sector investment program could not be spent. What you have done by your poor leadership and poor performance is to rob the Guyanese people of billions of dollars to be spent, that would have been spent in the economy, creating wealth, creating opportunities for the Guyanese people. Mr. Speaker, the poor policies of this government caused the discontinuation of the Petro-Caribbean Agreement, which saw the export revenue from rice decline by US $48.5 million between 2014 and 2017. You wanted to know about rice, Honorable Member Ramjatan? Since you came to government, up to 2017, revenue from rice has declined by US $48.5 million. That is as a result of your leadership. That is why, on behalf of the rice farmers, they have no confidence in this government. Mr. Speaker, the expulsion of some export companies by the APNU-AFC government also contributed to more than $4.2 billion reduction in export revenue. Only look at the forestry sector. Instead of encouraging investment, you can call whatever company you want. At the end of the day, Guyana was denied $4.2 billion of export revenue because of your leadership, because of your government, because of your incompetence, because of your mismanagement. And it is because of this that this no confidence motion must pass tonight to put you out so that confidence can be restored to the Guyana economy. Mr. Speaker, let me disamuse the Prime Minister. Let me help you. I stand here tonight with 19 charges from your government. Are you happy? Good. Let's continue now. Mr. Speaker, we are in a country today. Where unemployed persons, we have 37,119 persons unemployed. This government that is defending its record up to now, Mr. Speaker, this government could not stand up once in this debate and defended this. Where are you going to create the jobs? How are you going to create the jobs? You don't even read your own reports?
No, they don't.
Huh?
They don't.
You don't read your own reports? Go to the Guyana Labor Force Survey. You mentioned it in your budget, Honorable Minister. Mr. Speaker, the economy lacks vibrancy. What we see today, Mr. Speaker, the Honorable Minister Ramjatan spoke about crime and the good job he is doing. The good job the minister is doing. Only in today's newspaper, look at the headline.